Now just this.
A large beer for me.
Hey, what's up, people? I am Play here. Be working on the King's Gambit quest. It's part of our main quest. It looks to be on a time frame, so I have no choice but to go there now. I'm even getting warning that I'm about to miss it.
What a mess.
We're gonna go
My
do
respect.
that.
Excuse me.
Out of the way.
What you doing creeping about in the dark, eh?
Pretty sure I'm supposed to have no weapons. Take them off. There you go. What? No weapons. I think I'm supposed to have weapons anyway. Do it. Hopefully I'm still fairly clean here. In here, no?
What are you doing?
Good day to you.
Good day to you.
You know.
What are you doing wandering about without a light like a...
Need to put this armor on. It's not armor, but waiter. Gonna be a waiter for King Sigismund's party here. Eat. Yes. It's not bad. There we go. Mints.
Thief! Get a torch or I'll take you in. You're not from here, eh? Around here, you need a light after dark.
You fuck off.
That's more like it. Now on your way.
This door locked.
Franta Cooldown sent me. I'm to stand in for him at the council assembly.
Franta's not coming? What's wrong with him?
I think he's hurt, he's drunk. He's claiming the church is in the beds.
He got poisoned. Probably from food. He's writhing in agony. By turns praying and cursing, spewing from both ends.
Oh, that's enough. All right. At least you're here. We can't be without a waiter here, when the king himself will need waiting on. So, let's have a look at you. Have you got Franta's certificate?
Sure. Here it is.
Everything's in order. Now, about your livery. You've got a waiter's cap, a tunic you have. Hose are good. You can put your steel aside in front of the council chamber, along with your other stuff. You won't be needing it anyway. You don't want to be dragging a load if you're running around tables. Everything as it should be. Glad to see it, lad. Do you know what your duties are? For an inexperienced greenhorn like you, it'll be a great responsibility.
Well, I'll happily listen to any advice. I wouldn't want to foul things up.
I should certainly hope not. Now listen. A good waiter should stand in a corner, look willing and ready, and not get in anyone's way. In short, behave as if you're not there. But when one of the gentlemen calls for wine, you run and pour it for him on the double. You'll find the pitchers on a table by the door to the chapel.
Oh, that's funny.
You take one and go to their table and pour for them. White Tokaib or red monastery wine.
White or red, by the door to the chapel. Got it.
But for Councillor Adam of Zarzhitz, you must not pour at all. When he drinks, he disrupts and makes trouble. So the assembly has to be interrupted, or otherwise it never reaches an end. We can't allow that to happen in the presence of the king.
All right. Sir Adam of Zarzhitz stays dry.
And if the king himself wants wine, you pour for him with lowered eyes. Don't look at him. And the most important thing?
Remember who wants what?
That too, but more importantly, do not disturb the councillors at their work. They have a lot to discuss, and in general, a good waiter has to be invisible, blind, and deaf.
Oh? I thought I had to keep my ears pricked.
Well, yes, but only to what anyone wants from you. No excuses, and provide everything that anyone wants from you. Understood?
What if I make a mess of something, though?
Then I'll see to it that you won't get a job even mopping the floor in the hole in the wall. But I'm sure that's not going to happen. So,
Really.
are you
Just
prepared?
doing this for the mission. I need.
Can you
Tell me
tell me
again.
once more what?
Are you soft in the head?
Stand in the
You
corner.
stand in a corner, keep your mouth. Don't pour for Adam of Zarzhitz, because he can't hold his booze. Red monastery wine, white Tokai by the door to the chapel. Got it?
I know everything I need to. I can do it.
Excellent. Put away your things here. It's easier to serve with a lighter load. You can wait in the cubbyhole for the servants.
What things? I didn't have weapons on me.
The city reserves are in urgent need of new weapons.
There are the pictures of wine.
Our current Waffen
Hopefully I won't
arsenal is a
splash
joke.
anyone's shoes.
And on top of that,
Hey, the
the
waiter,
army
pour me
was
some Tokai.
requisitioning from it. Should the town reserve have worse weapons than any
apologize,
Räuber in
sir.
the domain?
Which
What
one?
are you
White
getting at,
Tokai.
Chris?
I'm saying that the bandits who freed Hinnick, the Dry Devil, used that thing. That Hackenbücher. Hand cannon. Can you believe it? Where did they get them?
You're the one who should know where they got them, since you're a gunsmith.
Boy,
What are you
deaf
implying,
or something?
Friedrich?
Why?
All I'm saying
White.
is that they had them, Herrgott. It is eine Schande when outlaws have better weapons than the city garrison. And Herr König surely knows this too.
Boy,
What is
are you
it,
deaf or
Elvis?
something?
You
Why?
smell a deal?
White.
What I smell is that your stubborn heads do not realize what Schwierigkeiten this is. The Dry Devil is running free. There are Raubritter everywhere in the region. We have the army bearing down, and you want to defend yourselves with a few rusty halberds.
And who is it you want to fight, exactly? The merciful King Sigismund is providing us with protection.
Let's see. I don't
isn't
see
he?
any way to give
Herr
them this
König
wine.
and his army will not
I'd
be
like
here
some monastery
forever.
wine. Refill my
Shut
cup,
up.
boy.
The king can arrive at any moment. What if he heard you?
What then? We're sitting atop the biggest silver heap in the kingdom, and we're supposed to defend it with brooms?
Monastery
Right,
wine.
Eldris.
Here.
But where can we get the coin for better equipment?
We can always confiscate the property of the king's enemies. Nicht
I
wahr?
don't give
We
them
are
wine.
more than familiar with the jämmerlich state of our armory. And the king is surely
Monastery
aware of it
wine.
as well.
Here.
Maybe if he waived
I
some of the
apologize, sir.
taxes.
The king fears that this town will rise against him.
Red.
He'll take the arming of the city's militia as a preparation for war.
So you suggest we just wait with arms crossed for the Raubritter to wreak havoc all around?
We can always ask the king
weird.
to bring order to the realm with his army.
But then the Dörfler will rise up.
This is
I'm
unbelievable.
afraid I see no solution of the current situation. We shall wait and see what His Majesty thinks about the matter. Maybe we can change his mind. Vielleicht?
Or anyone.
I fancy some Tokai. Refill, boy.
Probably should put subtitles on so I can see who's talking here.
Hey, where's my white?
I can't tell how to put wine anyway.
I apologize, sir. Which wine?
Are you colorblind? White.
Good, sir.
I can't believe this. Can't you tell red from white, waiter?
I'd like to report to the Honourable Council on the cleanliness of the city and the state of the public
Refill,
baths.
boy.
You mean baths or brothels?
Isn't it the same thing?
I apologize, sir.
So,
Which
the
one?
cleanliness of the
White,
city
Tokai.
is not what it should be. The current baths in
I
the city
apologize.
fall far short of covering all the citizens' needs.
You're right. We do have the new baths in Hopbrink, and Adam's old ones, but I hear the Hopbrink baths are more of a pigsty.
They still are a bit, but
Hey,
the
where's my
quality
white?
went downhill at Adams, too.
What? Pray tell. I thought you were a frequent customer there. Or has he grown tired of pampering you for free?
It's not about me at all. Our town's best
Hey, where's my
interests are
white?
on my mind. Betty's baths are considered the town baths. But let's not be fooled.
What do you mean?
The tax brings in some money for the town, yes. But it's still just a tax.
And what else would you want?
If
This
the
is
town itself
unbelievable.
took charge of the baths, the profits would be much bigger. And all the other baths would chip in with their taxes, too.
What? More baths? Surely not.
The need for cleanliness and citizens' health should not be underestimated.
Nor overestimated. If someone needs to wash, there's a river just a few steps from the city walls.
Certainly. And they can get leeches there for free as well. And while he's there,
More
a
wine,
man can
Master
shave
Bailiff.
and take
I have
a-
enough wine.
You know what?
Come closer.
So what? Going to the...
I need something from you. There is an item in my study that I can't. She thought she could wriggle out of it by telling me who the...
And what is it?
A silver goblet. She's sneaked. No one's noticed the theft yet. But if Ulrich finds out, he'll go and get it.
Keeping the city
And don't you make a mess there.
But we don't have
Where can I find this goblet?
arguing about
Use your
who's going
eyes
to wash where
and
and
come right back with it. Understood?
It's only a waste of time because we're always arguing about the same thing.
Not at all. If you'd finally admit that it's a trifle, we wouldn't have to keep coming back to it.
A trifle? Do you ever walk the streets here? Sewage, rats, slop, and rubbish. The least we can do for the citizens is to provide them with a place to wash up.
What nonsense! Next, you'll want me to serve wine to everyone for free, too.
Why not? In Jerome Nas's
Nice.
earthly paradise,
Whose silver
everything
might
would
this
be
be?
free.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Gentlemen, let's agree to disagree. What if the king heard us?
So, did you...
I did, Master.
Not so loud. Show it here. That's it. And now go back to your job.
I got word that Rutard has pulled off another deed.
That's nothing unusual. That old weasel will never accept that the city isn't run his way.
Hey, waiter!
At least
Pour
until
me
His
some
Majesty
monastery
honors
wine.
us with his visit. And as we know,
apologise,
Gunslin
sir.
absolutely hates
Which
him.
wine?
He can hate all he
red.
wants, as long as he does no damage. Ulrich, what have you got to say about it?
Me? Well, I'm not sure what you're implying.
I'm speaking about the Rutard incident. You were there, weren't you?
Oh, that's just a small
Well,
misunderstanding.
thank the Lord.
We've sorted it out and everything's settled.
My ears must be deceiving me. Are you defending Rutard? Besides, if his men attacked yours, as I've heard, then we have a good reason to punish him.
What happened there?
Boy,
Leave nothing out.
I don't like Ruthard, true, but in this
I
case
apologise,
it
sir.
really was nothing.
Which wine?
Everyone
Red.
in the city
And
gossiped
quickly.
about it. I heard there were several dead.
Did you? That's grossly exaggerated. I don't think Ruthard will cause any trouble. He is sensible enough not to draw attention to himself while the king is here.
That's true.
Good, sir.
Because if we don't do something about him, the king himself will put an end to him. And soon.
Unless he puts an end to us first. God knows what he wants to tell us.
If nothing happened, there's no point in dwelling on it.
Hey,
Let's
waiter.
move on.
Pour me some I'm sorry, Andreas, but I wouldn't brush it off so
I apologise,
quickly.
sir.
Why do I have the
Which
feeling
one?
you're not telling us the
Tokai.
whole truth, Ulrich?
That's the white. Are you accusing me of lying?
Those are strong words, my friend. Nobody said anything like that, did they?
Then why doesn't he tell us what really happened?
I'm not keeping
Well,
anything
thank
from
the
you,
Lord.
but there's little truth to the rumors circulating around the town. Yes, Ruthard and I had a little disagreement, but we ended it quickly because his daughter wanted to get
leave the
involved.
wine here.
I didn't want to expose the girl to any unpleasant sights.
So Ruthard is hiding behind his own daughter's skirts.
As if it wasn't enough that he sent his son to die defending
Careful.
the city.
All right. If we really don't have anything new to say, let's turn the page.
Things have got out of order in the town. Some adventurers decided to take the law into their own hands and restore the tradition of duels. It's not only barbaric, but also illegal. I could understand it with mercenaries, students, and other scum of all kinds, but city councillors?
Be specific, Forsuker.
I'd like some
Are you
monastery
blaming one of
wine.
us?
Refill my cup,
And
boy.
look who spoke
I apologise,
first.
sir.
First of
Which
all,
wine?
it wasn't a duel.
Monastery red.
Supposed to be an honourable combat. And I didn't even take part in it.
And that's the only reason you're still here on the council and not in the pillory.
If you want to blame
Sir?
somebody, you should point the finger at the youngster here who's...
Don't hang around
Excuse
me.
me?
Vanish, you hear me?
Never mind.
I suspect the gentleman from the city's sword-fighting school brought this custom to us.
come
It's
here for a
now run by the German Menhard. Who knows who that fellow is?
Don't
Everything
be
in order?
ridiculous,
Not quite.
Forsucker.
But I think you
You
might
act
be able
like
to
you've
help
never
me.
been in
Come
a
here!
fight yourself. And to accuse...
What can I help you with, sir?
I left my gloves in the chapel. I took them off to pray, but then I rushed here and forgot to take them. I can't just get up and walk out now. But if you disappear for a little while...
There are more pressing matters...
All right.
I knew I could count. While you're at it, count how many figures on the mural have wings.
But why?
Because I'm bored, and because I told you. Get on with it.
Sure, town is already laughing at us all day long. So what if they have one more reason?
My words exactly. The town council is squabbling constantly at the Emperor Charles, and no one is left unscathed.
And you, a councillor, let people throw dirt on our work?
If I threw out everyone who complains over a beer, I'd soon be out of customers.
Ah, to hell with it. We'll never get anywhere like this. Why waste our time?
You'll answer to me. So, let's see what you've got for me.
I found your gloves, sir.
Really? Let's see them. And did you count those winged figures?
I counted 24, sir.
And you counted correct. Good. Here you are, so you can have a bit of fun in the evening too, eh?
There's the eternal dispute over the cathedrals. The building of the church is dragging on, and in the meantime, there are
Where was
calling
I
diocesan
counting?
pilgrimages to the
Hey,
church.
waiter!
Right
Oh,
under
they're
our
all
noses.
up top.
It's just a village with a monastery, and they are going to Mokarol mining city.
Sir.
Why can't we build
Which
faster?
one?
Tokai!
Hire more craftsmen,
the
start
white.
with night shifts.
Haven't you noticed there's a war going on? Are the experts from
Excuse
far
me.
off supposed to work in a city under siege?
Besides, I get the
sir.
feeling there's something other than the welfare of the city behind your complaints.
You, lad!
Oh, you do? Do
look
you?
familiar to me.
And what would that
Have we
be?
met?
Like, for instance, that you'd like to have your
I really couldn't
altar
say,
there?
sir.
So what if I would?
I
your
have a
horses,
feeling
gentlemen.
I've spoken with
That
you
space
before,
in
too.
the side nave is mine.
Or with
Then
someone
hell
who
freezes
looks a
over, my
hell of a
friend.
lot like
Your
you.
place is at least 2 steps behind mine.
A swordsmith dares to insult me?
Yeah, they all know me. That's
I
kind of
think
silly.
not.
Excuse me? You wanted to buy yourself an altar in the cathedral, just like you bought yourself a seat in this council.
How dare you!
And a
I
full
acquired
cup.
my seat for
I
the
apologize,
services
sir.
our guild
Which one?
provided
Tokai,
and still
white.
provides
Are
to
you
the crown.
I'm sorry.
I hope
I
you're not
wasn't paying
supplying
attention.
equipment to the army. If that's all they have, they would be defeated by that bunch of ne'er-do-wells from the alehouse on Hopring.
Good,
What
sir.
ne'er-do-wells?
Those wrestlers of theirs, of course.
It's you?
People from the
I
whole
see
town go
you've
to
come
watch
up in
them
the
brawl.
world. From a
Oh,
bathhouse boy
this
to a
is news
waiter.
to me.
You'll go a
Because it
long
has
way.
all been sorted out.
One day I'll be the
Not long
bailiff here.
ago, the guards
Wait and
raided
see.
and threw them all out.
Ah, yes,
You're a
I
merry
had forgotten.
soul, lad. I
What do
like
we have
that.
to discuss next?
The Sigismund. Henry the Wine Girl.
Something is being planned. Oh, I doubt it. No one's going to tackle Rootard.
Azon al-Juchek Ase, Alegiop Katonaikat, Ishkelkinek Utra.
You have nothing to fear. Not you.
Like this man of falls!
Like if this general of his would not recognize us, it's kind of silly. Party here with Januk. There's a cool movie. It's a pretty good movie, Medieval.
Come now, Father.
It's
Put a little
based
life
on the
into your
life of
dying. See more cheerful
just,
priests at funerals.
So it's like set in this
I'd
time
rather be at
frame.
one than here.
Pretty good movie.
I hoped I'd never see this fortress again in my life.
Unpleasant memories?
You have no idea. I didn't part ways with my father on entirely good terms. 20 years ago.
And now you're 2 decades older and wiser. At your Ujit's parish, you spread the word of God to your flock, and you saved my neck and Henry's too. I'd say your father should be proud of you.
None of that matters a damn to him.
Who knows? Maybe that 20 years has changed a thing or two.
You know what? Let's drop the subject. Do you know any of the guests here?
Most of them I'm seeing for the first time in my life. It's a pretty varied company. We've had bandits, nobles, burghers, a priest, and even a rabbi coming together here. It's like the start of some joke.
Wait a moment. Rabbi, you say? The Kuttenberg rabbi?
Yeah. He came with a retinue. But for now, they're keeping mostly to themselves. Maybe you should go and welcome some of them. After all, this used to be your home. And you're a spiritual man too, so you should have something in common.
I wouldn't be too sure. But I suppose I can try. Who's that French fellow you brought here from Malashov?
The great Baron Brabant. Been everywhere, knows everything, and has the keys to half the kingdom. He's got more fairy tales than my old nanny.
Can he be trusted?
He's a blabbermouth, but a harmless one. Besides, he defended Kuttenberg, and you know how that went. If he were on Sigismund's side, he'd hardly have been locked up with me.
How does it feel to breathe free air again?
What can I say? You can never truly appreciate freedom until someone locks you up for a while.
There.
Or until you become a priest.
No fear of that in my case. I intend to enjoy life
shut
to the
down my
full.
curtain here.
Wine,
1 second, guys.
women, and song.
What do you plan to do now you're a free man again?
What do you think? Get drunk, woo one of the local wenches, and wake up in the morning with no hose and a head like a church bell.
Have you perchance forgotten we're supposed to be deciding the future of the kingdom here?
I'll leave that to the older and wiser. And duller.
Dear me. I'd rather creep off into some corner with a full wineskin. But I suppose I'll have to introduce myself to the rest of the guests.
Indeed you should. After all, you are one of the lords of Rabosh.
Oh, don't start with that. I'd like to steer clear of the old man as long as I can.
In that case, you should sound out Radzig and Hanush and find out what they're actually planning.
God be with you, my friend. And with you.
I'm glad you find...
Wouldn't let me change his clothes.
I've almost lost all hope.
It's not that I didn't want to, but understand that my absence from the city council...
Well, I brought home a whole basket of...
I understand. I appreciate it.
Good health to you, sir. I'm Godwin, a friend of that lad you arrived with, Henry. We don't know each other.
Baron Vauquelin Brabant, Chevalier d'Arezzo. The last of my line. I am a warrior, a traveler, a strategist, and also, à ma manière, a poet.
My word. Isn't that exhausting?
Mais non! And I'm glad to meet a new friend.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Baron. I knew right away we'd hit it off. How did you end up imprisoned in Malashov?
Ah, c'est une histoire compliquée. It was after I heroically led the defense of Kuttenberg, and only lost it narrowly by an unfortunate turn of events.
That needs some explanation. What unfortunate turn of events?
Oh, misère. It is clear you have never been to war.
You're quite mistaken, Monsieur Baron. I have.
Ah, je suis désolé. This Bohemia is a strange land. I have seen farmhands, children, and even women fighting. But the clergy? Sainte Mère, do tell me about it. No doubt you fought on the side of truth and honor.
My last big battle was in Kosovo.
I've heard of this battle. Many great men fell there.
Aye. And it was there I decided it was nothing for me. So I settled down in the presbytery in Ujits.
Then, what are you doing here, at a meeting of opponents of the crown?
The Lord moves in mysterious ways. Where have you been on your travels?
But of course! I was born. If you are interested in my greatest journeys, then I have traveled with a merchant caravan all the way to the Ottoman Empire. And if you are interested in my greatest deed, then that was perhaps...
And you wouldn't by any chance know the Pope?
Which one do you mean? I spoke briefly with Boniface IX when I was sojourning in Rome.
How come almost nobody here knows you?
I am operating, as they say. Incognito. My great benefit is my strong connection with the French court. There, everyone knows my name. Here in Bohemia...
You say you're a poet. How about a verse or two?
Jamais. Is poetry nothing but a fuss to you? Is a poet a gesture for amusement? I think not. To recite, I require the proper mood. And besides, few here would understand me.
Yeah, I'm not so sure the Frenchman
What smells good here?
is legit either.
What do you want?
Calm down. Shine. Lick and shine. Like the NPC said in this game, lick and shine.
Such rare guests. One wouldn't expect to find among Christians representatives of your community. I'm Godwin. My greetings to you.
Peace be with you. Neither would one expect a priest here. And yet...
How do you know I'm a priest?
It's not difficult to tell. After all, we have much in common. And we are both a little on unfamiliar ground here.
Right back, grab coffee.
I'm Yehuda, leader of the rabbinical court in the sacred community of Gutenberg. And this is Samuel, my aide.
Who would rather not be here at all. Why did we have to come here, Sadie? Can you not see everyone is staring at us?
Because we all need to help each other in this time of need. And why would they not stare when you are frowning so?
I'm back. Sorry about that. Gotta wake up somehow.
Are you here to arrange some trade?
We have more serious matters to attend to here than gaining a few groschen. The situation in the town and the kingdom is unsustainable. The whole land is on the brink of destruction. You have men and weapons. We have the means to sustain them.
Why are you telling this to a Koimer? You wanted to deliver what we brought to the Margrave and quickly leave.
Everything in good time, Samuel. We have just arrived, after all.
Did you come to lend money to the lords?
Not to lend, but to give. Help given to the needy is repaid only by God.
You don't even know if you can trust them. With that money, we could have paid mercenaries ourselves.
You remind me of my young friend Henry. He's a bit of a hothead, too.
Henry, that messenger of Radzik Copula.
You know each other. You're both around the same age.
That would be him. But we did not get off to a very good start.
I reckon the two of you would hit it off. He's reliable and has his heart in the right place. For a young stripling, he's been through plenty. It's not so long since his parents were killed in Skalitz. He was supposed to become a blacksmith, and instead, he's roaming the world, risking his neck at every turn.
Wait, a blacksmith, you say? From Skalitz?
Aye, that's right. Did you know anyone there?
I knew of someone. A
This guy knows
blacksmith by
Martin
the
because
name
when
of
he seen the sword,
Martin.
My
he looked at
daughter
the,
knew him most,
at the
and
Martin,
that is why Samuel is in this
stamping on
world.
it.
For our numerous sins.
Maybe he was my father, but he certainly didn't act like one. Ma raised me on her own.
And that was
Oh,
all for
another,
the best.
another bastard.
Why? He should have taken care of me, but instead he fathered another bastard.
Don't make hasty judgments.
So he's
As far
Henry's
as I know,
half bastard
Martin
brother.
didn't have any other children.
That's pretty cool.
At least, none of his own. He took in Henry and raised him as his own on the orders of the Lord of Skalitz, Sir Radzik Copula, Henry's real father.
I don't care if he took care of 20 other Mamsas.
That boy's blood father denied him, just like yours did to you.
A person can't choose their parents. And Henry only found out about it recently.
Enough. I'd rather have a drink. Will you have one too, Zayde?
For that, there will be more suitable times.
Good health.
L'chaim.
God would never says no to a drink.
Dear friends and allies,
needed
in
to
these
talk to
troublesome
Anush
times,
Radzik, but
you
I
all
didn't.
know why we're here.
That sucks.
The question remains, what to do next? Sigismund is facing troubles in Hungary, and here too he is up against resistance. He's a capable strategist, but a poor diplomat. Mark my words. If we wait him out until winter, he will leave of his own accord.
By winter, he'll have torched all our fortresses and carried off everything that we possess.
Are we seriously gonna wait and cower in a corner? Or are we gonna drive them out in shame? A few well-planned raids and we could have him in our fists!
At what price? Have you got men to spare? Has any of you got men and money to spare?
We don't have men out there.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
Jobst is right. That whole sun won't fall easily.
Only we can't wait.
Are we to get ourselves killed?
Or end with nothing.
Do you have the news?
I'm not going to die.
Friends, we'll get nowhere like this. Let's adjourn ourselves and try to think it through.
Well,
Maybe
that went just
maybe I
as
should
expected.
not have drank. Maybe
Good health.
it's gonna get all
And
shit
to
faced
yours.
now.
Could it have gone any other way when there's so many of us here?
I would have expected a bit more sense from Jobst, of all people. He made an amateur's mistake. But it's hard to be angry with him when he's trying to ingratiate himself with everyone. By the way, I'm John of Liechtenstein. And you must be Godwin, the son of...
That's not a thing I've ever boasted of. How do you know that?
I have my sources. From what I've heard about you, I'd judge you could be quite useful to me at today's gathering.
Is that so?
Indeed. And that's why I'd like to ask something of you.
It depends what it's all about.
A little delicate diplomacy. I expect we can agree that Jobst's plan has certain shortcomings?
That's a weak word.
And the way it stands at the moment, he'll never get the support of the Council. But I have an idea how to change that.
Well, I'm curious how you hope to shut Zizka up and satisfy the ones who want peace.
We'll sit and wait quietly until Sigismund withdraws of his own volition, as Jobst proposes, but we'll be waiting in the military camp of our huge new army.
If Sigismund decides to mount an attack on the camp, it'd be a massacre.
Ah, but it won't. Sigismund's army is demoralized and weakened. And besides, he's running out of resources. He's able to tackle fortresses that aren't able to defend themselves, but he won't engage an equal force on the battlefield.
But he can't retreat either. That would be a disgrace.
And that's exactly why we'll wait until he's called back to Hungary by events there. For the plan to work, we need allies, their money and their determination. We've already set the ground for it. We just need negotiators who will push the right people in the right direction.
Are you saying you set everything in motion even before Jobst?
More like in parallel, but without his knowledge. If we find support and make it look like the whole thing was his idea, we'll all win.
Why are you doing all this anyway?
Because I want to put a stop to the senseless deaths. And also because I'm happier with Wenceslas on the Bohemian throne.
You've got an interesting way of approaching things.
You're certainly not the first to tell me that. I take it as a compliment.
I'll help you.
I'll give you 3 names. Bocek of Kunstadt, Hamann Alder, and Anna of Waldstein. If you can get those 3 on our side, we've won the day. Meanwhile, I'll take care of Jobst.
Tell me a bit more about those people, so I know...
Certainly. Who do you want to start with?
Bocek of Kunstadt. I know the...
That's just the thing. He's got massive estates, great influence, but he holds back. He doesn't play the big game. Because he always goes for the sure thing. But once he's made his mind up...
Alder the Alderman. Wasn't he a Kuttenberg councillor?
He still is. The only one who retained him. Only he's here, instead of cozying up with Sigismund in Kuttenberg. So his days in the council are numbered. But he'll continue to have a strong influence on the guilds and the rich burghers. And that's why we need him.
Anna of Waldstein. The widow of that rich mine owner.
Wenzel Bartosz. And
I was quite surprised to see her here.
A male affair? So far, Anna is holding back and behaving like an exemplary... But don't trust appearances. She's got claws. She knows how to do...
And what use can she be to us? Apart from her late husband's money.
She's as sharp as they come when it comes to trade. And she knows a thing or two about... There are wicked tongues that claim Bartosz acquired most of his wealth thanks to her. And that it was thanks to her that he died, too.
Most likely.
What if it does?
I refuse to even consider that outcome. Because...
Why me?
Because you've got a head on your shoulders. You and your friend Henry are similar in that respect. There aren't many like...
I'll get on it then.
I wish us...
Success to our plans.
Now I need to talk to Hanos.
You've got perfume on.
I tell you, nobody has the likes of these.
But they're not
Not
here.
even Bocek?
Not even Bocek. He's a great lord.
That's not me. Not like this.
I hope you're not following.
Oh, I guess I missed something in this quest because I didn't talk to
God be with you.
Hanush and Radzig.
There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that.
Margrave Yob's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ. Be praised.
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is a necessity. Although, between the two of us, it isn't.
How do you know Liechtenstein is behind it?
I know most of the people here very well. Many of them, but they wouldn't dream of stating, while it seems that Lord Liechtenstein...
I'd say you have a better nose for people than most of them.
Not only for people, but also for good...
Then you're in the right place.
The wine here is average. The cooks lack imagination. And So, to the point.
Nothing more than support and resources for an army to...
Nothing more? I'd say that's plenty.
It's not only your money we're interested in. You're well able to negotiate and trade. And if you were to take part in our plan...
Then I'd be helpful to you. If you want me to support you, you must...
Do you have something in particular in...
Well, one of the guests here has...
who's that?
Haman Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him, I would support your proposal.
And these papers I'm supposed to switch...
My relatives somehow dug up some trade contracts between...
You were dealing with the...
They were not the enemy at the time. My conscience is clear, but...
And the papers I'm supposed to plant...
Just insignificant documents. If the incriminating ones disappeared without a...
I'm supposed to rob...
Haman Alder was given the documents to deliver. He hasn't yet had a chance to look at them.
Have you fallen out with the town council?
No. Alder is innocent in the matter. My relatives are disappointed that I dared outlive, and the fact that I'm handling his estates.
All right, I'll help you.
Alder will surely have the papers in his saddlebags, which he left in the shed. Bring them to me, and put these there instead. But watch yourself. You don't often see a man smelling this nice.
Smell good, eh?
One beer.
Yes, he must have Henry's perfume that I went on.
My, you smell like...
What was the other guy?
How are you getting on?
Everything is going so...
Glad to hear it. Keep it up. Just don't over...
Oh, don't we do it with the wine? Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought, that...
Why?
I'm Alder, him.
I'd like to check your horses out.
Ha! Even better.
And you might not believe...
Well.
I wanted to...
You wanted to
I want to have a word with old...
Well, I'm having...
I apologize, Father.
For interrupting our conversation? Or just for being you?
Is that your...
Unfortunately. Speak up, then. What are you doing here?
Not this father.
I came with a delegation from Sir Hanush of Lipa.
Is this a joke?
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested. I got him a place at the Archbishopric. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then I find out but he took his boozing and whoring along with him. Lost...
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you
I wouldn't set foot here if I had a choice. Better to be a priest in some backwater than have a father like you. How dare you? You're as shit a father as I am a son. We've got nothing to blame each other for. And now let me speak to Alder.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor. If you had any, you'd be...
That's enough.
Christopher.
Hey, innkeeper, that beer?
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
Brother.
I'm not happy about it, but I accept. This isn't how I imagined my first meeting with my brother.
Make room for us. We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Stay back. Hey, who taught you that?
You don't know which end of that thing is up. Stand firm. Otherwise, the first strike will put you on your arse.
Hey.
Take that! Did they teach you that in the seminary?
Cover your right side. You've got a gap there I can drive a car through.
Oh.
Left arm lower.
Not bad for a priest.
That was sneaky. With your whole arm, not just your wrist.
Who taught you that?
Look at my eyes, not at my sword.
That will do. My God. Why did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good-for-nothing boozer. But you could teach sword fighting in a school.
That's true.
I was in a war. Right after they kicked me out of the archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Why? Well, I apologize for going off like that. I had to, so that...
So Father would be satisfied, only he'll never be satisfied.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down.
And no luck again. When I was 6 years old, I fell off. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days until I was 8.
Only 3 days?
I always wondered who you were.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed, but now I have a chance to put things to rights a little.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder.
The outcome of this war.
That sounds very important. Considering you and Alder... After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust...
Do I have any choice?
If it's really that important.
All right, then. It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an arm.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an out...
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund.
I expect Alder's not the only one.
You got that?
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Pa doesn't need to know about
You're...
Which horse is it?
God bless.
Aren't you a bit bored?
What's your problem? The horse?
God forbid.
Not really.
Shall we roll some dice?
Well, I'll wait at the table over there. What brings you here? Hey, you! What are you doing here? No one's allowed in here.
Thought he left. Waiting
I'm
for
waiting
you,
here
sinner.
for you.
Oh, how's that?
I've been watching you for a while, and I have a feeling you do...
Who in God's name?
In God's name, indeed. I'm a priest, and I know a wretched sinner when I see one.
A wretched sinner.
Is it that obvious? Christ above.
Don't blaspheme.
Hey, you! What are you doing here?
I'm here on a matter of Lady Anna of Waldstein's. It's very important.
And what would...
That's none of your concern. But Lady Anna...
No.
If you hold me up, Lady Anna... And since you're just a fucking groom, you can complain at best to the nags here.
No, it's not. And in the morning, when I met him, I swore I never laid... Even though my back was scratched raw from our...
That's a mortal sin. And then lying about it, too.
I'll go to hell for that, won't I?
You won't. As long as you repent.
I'll start right away. That won't please Lord Odderin. Hey, didn't you want a game of dice? I've been waiting for you.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to get out of the way.
Next time, pick someone else to make a fool of, eh?
Must be in here, right? Yeah. Hanoshiro, that's it.
Oh, what's that nice smell?
There they are.
Godwin, you wouldn't be avoiding me. We didn't have much time for conversation on the way here. Let's rectify that.
With pleasure, sir. As it happens, there's something I'd like to ask you. Where did you leave Sir Divish? Surely he's not too old to miss out on such an event.
Haven't you heard? Lady Stephanie is with child. No one even imagined Divish would produce an heir at his age.
Henry's bastard.
As they say, it doesn't matter who
that's funny.
dough, as long as there's a pie in the oven.
Godwin.
Well, it could be a miracle. Praise the Lord.
It's Henry's bastard for sure.
I couldn't help but notice your son has a bit of a talent for getting into trouble.
To put it mildly, but not to do him an injustice, knowing young Lord Capon, he undoubtedly contributed to that more than a little. Although, if they didn't pull each other out of trouble, God knows where they'd be now.
Wise words. Still, Henry's come a long way on a thorny path. I trust you're rightfully proud of him.
You know, I am. And Martin would also be glad, even though Henry chose a different path than he.
May God grant him eternal rest. What are you expecting from today's gathering, my lord?
Well, I have no great but all going well, we may be able to establish, as long as we proceed without prior agreement and mutual support, we will be very unlikely to achieve any progress.
May I have a word with you, sir?
You? Anytime. With you, at least, there's some sensible conversation. Unlike this pack of conceited upstarts.
Have you got something against the Kuttenberg?
Their forefathers lived up to their ears in dung. But thanks to the royal, and they think that can turn their blood blue.
But surely they're not all like that. And they are our allies.
Allies or not, someone ought to show them their place.
Young Lord Capon is finally free again. Let's hope he'll take better care of himself.
He got a harsh lesson. But at least he might remember to lay off that tomfoolery of his for a while. But if not, war will make a man of him soon enough.
Do you think there's really going to be a war? I mean, a proper one?
I sincerely hope so. Whoever sits around risks nothing. It's time to get...
What do you think about Jobst?
Are you testing me? Jobst called this assembly and he wants things to turn out well. We have to trust him.
To turn out well for whose benefit, though? Some are up to their elbows in silver and blood, so others can live in freedom.
Better make sure you're among the latter, then. And in the meanwhile, help the former to keep their losses to a minimum.
Okay.
Was that you?
I must have missed the window to talk to them. That's why it's not leading to nothing. Does my quest say? Get support from Anna, get support from Boschet of Kunstad.
Who are you off to see, smelling like that? That smell.
I'll teach her a lesson too.
And what if we were to explain to him?
Are you pocket?
Sir Kunzlin, I haven't yet had the pleasure.
You're Godwin, aren't you? I've heard about you from Martin.
Oh dear.
Have no fear. I know Martin well, and I know he's prone to exaggeration.
Will you support Margrave Jobst's plan?
That depends on what it is. If he decides...
Do you think we should look for help somewhere else?
I came here for one reason alone. If Jobst doesn't lay one out before me, I'll try and find someone more courageous.
I expect you know Lady Anna.
Why wouldn't I?
I hope she doesn't feel unwelcome here.
To her own relatives, certainly. But I'll tell you one thing. Anna cared for him devotedly till the day he died.
So it's not true what they say?
Vile slander. People just can't.
What do you think of the rabbi's offer? The Kuttenberg...
Or nothing. To be honest...
He said he was interested in...
Aye, but still he must be aware that whatever happens, it won't change the lot of his people.
So you don't trust him?
And isn't it natural? It's not just faith in the walls of their quarter that separate. They live in our city, but they're more foreign than the Germans or the Hungarians. God be with you.
What's you? It's just you.
Mein Gott, wo liegt das Problem?
Christ, it's hot out.
I've got those...
Quiet! You don't...
Milady, with all the clamour going on, here they are.
You're more capable.
You're welcome.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein.
Thank you, noble.
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our...
I'd like to, but I'm afraid I've had more than my fill already. I wouldn't want to cause a scandal.
Wise. No matter, I shall drink. What a lovely scent.
You know.
Well, do you feel better now you've stopped eating game?
Aye. My legs are nearly as swollen, but everything else has gone downhill.
Like what?
It burns like hell when I shit. It's like my arse is
Talk
on
to
fire.
him?
I
No.
try to go just once every
Was that you? Ah, never mind.
Missing somebody.
Gathering wood.
Sir, I don't believe I've had the honor.
Nor I, until now. I am Sir Conrad, Lord of Wächter, and you are...
Used to be. My father somewhat...
And I used to be the Royal Mint Master, until the King decided to replace me.
We've got quite a bit in common.
More than you think. If my memory doesn't so I recollect at least from my recent discussions with Martin.
Served. That's in the past.
Even so. Before King Wenceslas appointed me his mint master, I was a priest.
And now look at us. We have cast off our robes and merrily hatched plots against Sigismund.
There's no point in waiting for divine intervention. On the contrary...
Are you going to support the...
I haven't quite decided yet. It's true that displeasure... But if our rebellion were to come face to face with Sigismund's army...
Do you think you might get your position as mint master?
I doubt it. Half the town hates Vavak, but no one would even think of saying a word against him. And he knows that his security stands and falls with his function, so he clings.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
So it is, right? That I'm supposed to convince? Anna Boschet of Kunstadt.
My. You smell nice.
Thank you.
Why? Sir Bochek, I need to speak with you for a moment.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea in his ear. Jobst comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over for him.
On the contrary.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men-at-arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men-at-arms as a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
Don't worry, it's not just your money I want to draw on. Believe it or not, we've gained other patrons for our cause too.
Really? Name at least one of those lunatics then.
Anna of Volstein, for instance.
Truly? Well, let's see about it then.
I wouldn't mention the word lunatic.
All right, let's discuss it, candidly. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left...
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have...
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
How about young Lord Capon?
He's a youngster.
He may be young, but he's got something between his ears.
That's just not true.
And when he gets the estate that's his by right...
If he gets it. Right now, Hunnish lords over Rattay. On the other hand, the lords of Leipa have a good reputation. Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
I'll convey your offer to Lord Capon.
I don't care what the young lord thinks. If he agrees, I'll be... The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice.
Rice! What's the hold-up?
Yeah.
You seem a bit out of sorts. Anything wrong?
Oh, these grand aristocratic assemblies are nothing for me. I'd be happier if they just told me in the morning how it all went and what my boys have to do next.
But then you'd miss all the grub and...
Oh, now...
It seems Liechtenstein's looking for allies. For his own ends.
And how's he gonna do it? Didn't you see them all fighting tooth and nail?
Well, different approaches work with...
The only approach that'll work with Sigismund is open resistance.
A lot of people think the wealthy burghers will weather out of fear.
Well, that's to be expected. As long as Sigismund has the city...
Well, at least there's a few individuals here. Like Ruta.
Sigismund confiscated his castle and half his estate, not to mention that his son was killed.
Let's hope young Lord Capon manages to stay free for a while longer. Ever since leaving Rattay.
That's one thing you can always count on him for. I'll gladly wager with you he'll end up in some other shit by evening.
God forbid. Henry's not here now to pull him out of it.
In that case, it'll be up to you. I'm sure you wouldn't leave him to disgrace himself in front of Hanush.
That tree will still be alive.
Out to Hanush.
Sir Hanush, I bring...
You do?
I've gained us...
And who is it? I hope it's not one of those...
On the contrary, it's Bocek, the Elder of Kunstadt and Podjebrad.
Kunstadt? By Christ, how the hell did you do it?
Well, I explained to him how such an alliance could be mutually...
Mutually? What do you mean?
He's got a pretty serious personal interest in this... bond.
Stop beating around the bush and spit out what you promised him.
Lord Kunstadt has a niece, so... I arranged a betrothal for young Lord Capon, with your blessing if you agree.
Hans Capon is to marry Yitka of Kunstadt. Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstadt's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it.
I must sadly decline, sir.
I'll take that personally. Take a look at that.
Good to see you.
A nightingale surrounded by hawks.
I've got some good news.
The bad news is there's hardly any females in this whole damned place. There's some old bat standing there with two young girls, but she watches over them like a mother hen. So at least tell me the good news.
Actually...
At least the wine here is decent. Cheers!
I'd better slow down, or I won't live to see the morning.
Ah, what can one expect from a man of the cloth?
I'll talk to him now.
Your Grace.
Certainly.
Godwin.
Now I remember. Forgive me, there are many guests.
Lord Liechtenstein asked me for help, in our collective interest. But if you'll allow me, sir, I'd like to ask you a few questions, so I'm clear about what I can do to help.
Indeed. And...
Your plan, if I may be so bold, has a few gaping holes. Sigismund may attack anywhere and any time, and we have no way to defend ourselves. You want to wait? Fine. But you should at least give some assurance to the lords that they'll live to see it through.
You amuse me, Godwin. A parish priest teaching the Margrave of Moravia about politics. I know you mean well, but try to look at it with...
I'd reason better with an army at my back.
Do you realize how much such an army costs?
And if a way could be found, and the means...
Before that happens, Sigismund will take his shoes off and head off to Rome barefoot.
Do you still think the lords will agree at the end of the day? I'm beginning to lose hope.
That's the way of... Some are persuaded by silver, some by...
And if none of that does the trick?
Such cases usually end in quarrels between former allies.
I wasn't expecting to meet the rabbi of Kuttenberg here.
Really? Half of Kuttenberg has accumulated debts with usury. The rabbi knows his people are under threat, and that Sigismund will not protect them if something should befall, similar to what happened in Prague.
So they naturally took a stance against Sigismund.
What's more, if Wenceslas regains the throne, they can...
On whose side do the wealthy burghers stand?
From the entire elite of Kuttenberg. Only Kunzelin Ruthard and Haman Alder have come here. Not that I'm surprised. The king keeps a close eye on them through the city council, seeking the slightest pretext to confiscate their wealth.
But if Ruthard and Alder can be...
We don't need to convince Ruthard. And Martin is already working on Alder. But he might be pushing a little hard.
John of Liechtenstein is acting in your interest, isn't he?
That was the original agreement. And on the outside...
But it was you who sent him to Kuttenberg, wasn't it?
True. But I certainly never told him to hole up, and by doing so, he put both himself and our
I understood that...
Yes, he is. Only, he is slowly starting to act more...
Although, that doesn't...
He still lacks the experience to be capable, but he is persuasive, and...
Talk to Samuel again, for some reason.
Everything all right?
I can't wait for it to end, so we...
Would you
What can I tell you? It was never exactly glorious.
Surely it won't be that bad.
There are many fools who would rather take out their gall on us and start to fight among themselves. In times of uncertainty, it is always the sons of Israel who are the first to be stricken.
I reckon you'd have to be pretty brave to come and mingle with the Kuttenberg lords.
Or pretty pissed off.
Or that.
We will leave as soon as we can. Anyway, all of these worthy gentlemen will be relieved when we are out of sight.
Now what? Watch it. Just have to go tell him yes for the marriage. He was right.
See my brother and talk about the inheritance. But your father's still
burgers, patricians, and you.
Sabuchek, your niece Yivka.
So Hanush agreed.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill my end of the bargain without reservation.
Thank you, Lord of Kunstein.
Enough formality. We'll have a drink. What do you say?
Thank you, but I'd rather not drink. The evening has just begun.
I'll be right back. God bless.